Yo, 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 what is going on? It is your favorite uncles back with another episode. Drunk Uncle presents Happy Hour. To my right, I got my boy Jay Hicks. What's going on, man?
You already know the vibes, man. Detroit team staying here. You see in the title. My Lions doing it again. We 8-1. My Pistons. I got them on right over here. We 5-7. I said it on the pod before. 30 wins. 30 plus wins. Book it.
I'm
We
with
about to
you,
beat the
brother.
Bucks tonight.
I'm
You
with
did,
you, brother.
you did say it. I still doubt it. So to the bottom, got my boy
Same
TT.
thing.
What's going on, man? How you
I
talking, man?
thought, I thought y'all were about to sub me, man. I didn't know what was going on. I thought I was going to get snubbed over here. Man. You know how it is for the fourth to fifth favorite drunk unk, man. Anyways, but I'm here to give you some of the plays, man. Let's have a good show, man. Let's get it.
Yeah, man. Let's jump into it, man. It's your boy Campaign Jay. If I didn't say that already, man, we are going to be back, man. So to jump off, we got a couple things to talk about today. We got some NFL football. I see that's on the roster topics today. But before we
We
get into
should.
that, it
I was
was
gonna say
something
we
I
should start with
wanted
the
to talk
NBA.
about. Well, I didn't even want to jump into the NBA, but we can briefly talk about the NBA real quick. Let's spend a couple minutes
What were
talking
you gonna
about.
talk about? What were you gonna start the
Uh,
show with? Go ahead.
I want to talk about college football, but we can jump in NBA first because we
Okay.
can then turn it and lead that into football. What do you want to say about NBA, Jimmy? Talk to me real quick.
A couple things. The season's getting rolling now. We're what, 3 weeks into the season,
Yep.
starting to get the group play up. We got some questions, man. We got some questions about some of these teams. One of the teams being these Milwaukee Bucks here. I I mean, they're just bad. They're just not a good team right now. Like they just don't even look like. I mean, they're 3-8 right now. And you look to last year when they started the season, they were what, hot. They were like 34-13 or something like that. They were rolling. They get rid of
Fire.
Adrian Griffin and bring in Doc. And since they brought in Doc, they just have not been good. Like they just stink now. So it's like
Yeah.
Doc needs to go. I
Yeah.
think Doc needs to go. I don't know why they hired him in the first place or why they thought it was going to be a good hire, but yeah, that brother's got to go. It's time for him to
But
get behind a desk, do some analyst work.
I agree. I think Doc needs to go back to the, like you said, go back to the analysts, go and talk back to ESPN, go ahead and get that check back because his goose is cooked. I think in Milwaukee. I knew that I had kind of discussed it, and what's crazy is, bro, to be honest with you, and to be honest with a lot of the fans right now, I haven't been watching a lot of NBA basketball. NBA really like I watched like the first couple of games this season, and I just the product to me is just falling off tremendously. Ratings are showing it as well too. I think. But it's just hard for me to watch, man. But I know just following it and then looking at X and everything. In the first week and a half, I was seeing that there was already rumors flying around about Giannis trade destinations, and I knew from right there, I'm like, oh, well, their season's cooked. Like if you already in you in what was it, 5 games deep at that point, and they talking about,
Yeah.
oh, well, Giannis destinations, he would like Miami and what other teams it was. I know Miami was one of the teams, the first one I could think of. Um, I'm just like, man, they cook, like cook. First
I
week and a
saw
half of the season, you talking about trading. Like, come on, man.
I saw the Rockets as a potential team. It was the Rockets and another
Yeah,
young team that I can't
yeah.
think of right now.
I think Houston was one
Um,
as well too. I do, yeah.
Now I will say I feel like if he went to Houston, that'd be a really nice boost for them. I think there'll be. I mean, anywhere he goes, it's just going to obviously elevate them. And if it's a young team like Milwaukee or like Houston, that got the money for it, obviously, and they got the young talent around them to kind of to get that team rolling. I feel
Can I
like
ask
that
you
would be a good addition for
Can I
them.
ask you something about that? Like,
What's
if
up?
we're being honest, if let's say he were to go to Houston, right? Let's say Houston was the destination that he goes to. Are they championship contenders at that point, in your opinion, in that West? Because I feel like that team is still missing so much more than Giannis. Giannis is a huge
I
addition
mean,
that puts them into the top five probably of the conference. But realistically, does he have enough around him still to compete for a championship? You think in Houston?
you have to just look at it like if you look at the West right now, you have obviously the Nuggets, you have the Thunder, you have the Lakers, you have
Minnesota,
um,
Dallas.
Minnesota, Dallas, and then now even
Go-
you can even look to
I
like
know
some of
Golden
the other
State's
teams.
I know Golden State's
So
been playing. I know Golden State's been playing pretty well this season.
Golden State is 9-2, like they're rolling right now. So it's like there's still a lot of teams that are going to be that they're going to have to compete with still. I wouldn't necessarily say they would be like championship contenders, but they're definitely going to be, a team, a hot team. Obviously, I don't know what the record is right now,
Do
but
you think it's a
I would
better?
imagine.
Do you think it's a better situation than what he's currently in Milwaukee?
I mean, just a better culture, I guess. Not to say there's no culture in Milwaukee, but you're really just a bunch of old guys essentially. Like think about it, you around Dame and Chris Middleton and Brooke Lopez. Like you just
Guys
got a
that
bunch of
played this
older guys
season.
around you, and it's like I feel like if you go play for a younger team, you got Sengun, you got Jalen Green, you have a Dylan Brooks who's going to be out there playing defense. You have just a bunch of young guys out there. Amen Thompson, just younger guys to kind of put around him that are, obviously going to help run the floor. They space the floor really well as it is, just because Sengun is so versatile. So, I mean, I just feel like that would just kind of add to the mix for sure. So, I mean, it just really depends on how the guys around him kind of develop too. Because, like I said, they're still a very young team, and they don't really have a ton of veterans on that team right now. Um, so it would definitely be something to kind of see how that would progress, especially out in the West too, because it's never easy out there.
I agree. I agree. I think it's gonna be tough. I think, in my opinion, I think if he's gonna go anywhere, he has to go. I think he should stay in the East. And I also think he should just stay in Milwaukee. I think him and Dame, at the end of the day, like you at least got to give it some more time. And it ain't even been a full like you had the season last year, and y'all, like I said, you were doing pretty good, but you want to fire AJ Griffin. I think you needed to go ahead and get different coach in there, figure that out. Um, but I just hate to see. This is what I said again, bro. Is what we kind of talked about is I just hate seeing as I try to fix my camera. I just hate seeing the trade destinations getting talked about already in the first week of the season. That was just nasty work to me. That was something that I can't get down with. Not a fan of that at all. Not a fan of that at all.
Yeah, but it's like we're at a point now in the season where it's like, okay, you look at because that's what people talk about. We're what already an eighth of the way through the season, technically, just with the games played and whatnot. Like the Bucks don't look hot at all. They're 3-8. They've lost, obviously they're not winning any games. They don't look great in a lot of these games. So it's like, and then the Giannis said at the beginning of the season, if we don't win the championship, like I might get traded. So obviously with that, with him saying that, that's already going to open the
I
floodgates
mean, but
to
what do you,
people talking
bro?
about potential.
But this is my thing too. Like, this is what I say about the new NBA, bro. It's like they're what 2 seasons removed, 3 seasons removed from a championship, and you want to get traded
Yeah.
already? Like, come on, what are we doing?
I mean,
But I mean, they're
supposed to
be
better destination too. I mean, like you
So what, TT?
might want to go play Miami. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
don't really think it's about
They
the
go play
destination where he
Miami,
wants
and
to
they
play.
sent them there. They wanted to be Miami too, and they sent them there. So it's like
I
now
just
you gonna
think
get to go to Miami and leave him in Milwaukee.
tell Milwaukee to grab both of them up. That's what I think.
Man, I don't know, bro. I
I
think it's funny. I do think it's funny that every trade rumor destination like that we see in season is always Miami involved, and then off season it's always the Lakers. Like I just find that funny, bro. It's always
well, because you
those.
have to think about it, bro. Because every year
big markets.
it's pretty much the same storyline with them. Like the Lakers in the off season, obviously they're not championship. They're not contending for a championship, or they lose. However they lose, whatever fashion they lose in. So they're trying to get pieces added in, and they're always talking about a superstar that they need to get out there to kind of help the team or whatever. And then you have a team like Miami, who every year they always feel like they're however many pieces away, and oh, we just need this or we just need that to help them get them over the hump. Because obviously Jimmy Butler has gotten them to 2 finals, but like it's like okay, we haven't really done anything else. Like they don't have anything to get them over that hump. So like obviously that anybody's like, oh, we're always gonna be buyers. The Heat are always gonna be buyers until they can get to a point where they feel like, all right, we're gonna actually compete in the East because they haven't other than that one miracle year where they were the 8th seed and worked their way all the way up to the finals. It's like okay, well, that's not gonna happen again. Like you just can't. That's not gonna be able to be sustainable at the end of the day.
Right.
Yeah, it's gonna replicate something like that for sure.
Right.
It's gonna be tough.
One more thing.
That is gonna be
one more thing I want to
the Heatles. I think that's what they're trying to really do too, and it's like that's never happening again. Give it up.
No chance.
I mean, the Heatles just like they got so lucky. Those guys all needed a contract same time.
And they all want to play Miami with D.
They all wanted to play Miami. I mean, they really were supposed to go to New York. They
came out in the same draft, like
they're really supposed to go to New York. I don't know if you guys ever knew that. But
yeah,
they're supposed to go to New York, but ended up Miami. I mean, it just worked out. It was a miracle. It was a miracle for them. They got the best probably arguably the best player ever, the best player in their franchise history before that. And
the best player of another franchise history.
I'm about to say
one of them.
Best player in Toronto's history, damn near for real too.
Yeah, he's definitely up there.
This Carter's better, but
for sure, he's up there though. He's up there.
He's up there,
That's what I'm saying.
I remember how much time Vince Carter spent in Toronto compared to Chris Bosh. I would have to look at that. But yeah, I guess.
Well, Chris Bosh he didn't even get on a second contract in Toronto, did he?
No, he did not. Yeah, he did because he came out before.
He might have played 4 or 5 seasons, maybe.
He came out. Well,
I thought that was like his rookie deal.
He came in the same draft class as Bron and D Wade.
Yeah.
So
Chris Bosh was in that class. I didn't even know he was in that class.
Yeah, he went 4.
He played 6 years. So he played 6 years in 6 years in Toronto. Then just about.
Yeah.
5.
Yeah. So he probably had an extension, a rookie extension, or something like that. Speaking of rookies, one last thing I wanted to talk about in the NBA. Before we transition over to football, is Bronny. I know y'all saw it.
Man. Yeah, man.
You sent it in the chat, Jay, but I just wanted to get y'all thoughts on it here. But like, how do we feel about Bronny only playing in home games for their G League team, for the Lakers G League team? I personally, I think it's. I don't understand why they would do that. Maybe there's like another reason behind it why he's really not. But like, I feel like that's a huge deterrent for his career to only play in home games for the G League team.
I'll just be real.
It's a deterrent to career if you actually care about your career.
I mean, I guess, but like shit, you in the NBA, bro. Like you, if you want to play,
come on, though, Jimmy.
I really don't think.
You think he'd be in the NBA if his name wasn't Bronny James?
I mean, he wouldn't, but it's like.
No, I 100% don't think he gives a shit about playing basketball. I think he's really doing it because his dad, bro, and this is the dad's dream. Like, and I mean,
maybe, but that's just kind of crazy if that's the reality of the situation. Like, I just feel like he would want to.
Like, I'm not, and this is me. Okay, this is what I'm about to say. This little soliloquy is not me trying to bag on Bron or anything of that nature, but I'm about to just tell it what I think it is, how I see it, bro. Is I see LeBron James has always wanted to be a first with everything he's done. He wants to be the first player / owner, or at the same time he tried to get that accomplished. Obviously he wants to be the first father-son duo in NBA. He wants to be the first a lot of things. Like Bron is a very for the people type of person, I guess you could say. And this is a moment that he wanted, and he made it happen, bro. I'm not, and again, like we said, I'm not against nepotism. I'm not against it at all. It's cool. You got your son drafted. You got him able to play for both of y'all to be able to share the court together. Phenomenal moment. But really, what are we doing here, bro? Like, what are we doing here? Ronnie, you don't want to play, bro. You don't have to play. You don't have to do this. Go stream.
I mean, it's starting to look like all this just for a little. It was just for a little photo shoot moment. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why would he not be right? Why would he not be in college right now playing basketball if he really cared about basketball? If his dad was going to be in the NBA this year, regardless.
Bro. Like, he signed a 2-year extension. Like, he's going to play another 2 years at least.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know why they couldn't just wait for all this another year, let him develop a little bit, actually play.
That's what I'm saying.
Basketball. But, I mean, obviously we know why. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, let's be real. He's such a big time star, right? He's got all the star power. Do you really want like a big? He's LeBron James' son. Like, you think he's really about to go travel United? When Brian Windhorst say he go travel United Airlines,
that's true. That's cool. That is also true.
Brian got enough money to send his son private if that's what he had to do to send a hotel.
I mean, I understand really that, but you also don't want to do that to the other G leaguers, though.
No, you send the team with him then at that point, or you have him.
Brian's not going to be responsible for
like a normal G League player at the end of the day, bro. Yeah, his games are going to be a lot more.
They don't want to treat him special, but the way it's Brian's son at the end of the day, he low-key got to get special treatment, and they just don't want to. I guess they don't want to do that to the other guys.
They have it both ways, though, bro. Like you said, either he integrates into the team as a normal player, or you have to give him special treatment as a non-normal player. There's only one or two ways you can do it. You can't have both ways. So it's like at that point, bro, him not playing in all the games. Like, look at these other players that are fighting for roster spots on NBA teams that are on the South Bay Lakers. I got to travel to road game. You think they don't want to travel to road games either? Sleep in these shitty hotels, ride this bus for 6 to 8 hours. Like, they don't want to do that shit either. But Bronny gets to do it, and then he gets to get caught up to the NBA every other game, and I'm probably better than him. Like that's going to create some discontent, like on the team. I think, bro.
But you know why he's on the team though.
I mean, yeah, you know why he's on the team, but that's going to create discontent too. Like a lot of these, like the thing is, like a lot of these players like Bron and a lot of the players, like bro, at the end of the day, bro, they're playing for their lives and their contracts and their money, bro. Like you're taking a roster spot up, and you don't even really give a fuck about the game for real. And like it's niggas that really do love the game, like that's really there, really trying to make it
and need it
because your name. Like
some dudes do need the game, and they need the game.
And that's another. Bronny don't need it. Like Bronny don't need to hoop. Bronny gonna be good regardless.
Yeah,
he's good regardless, bro. Doesn't matter what he does. He can go stream and literally be a $10 to $15 million a year streamer if he really wanted to do that, bro. Like he doesn't need to do this shit. Like, yeah, he doesn't need to do this shit, bro. Like, so that's what I'm just saying. Like, when I'm looking at it from the other team perspective, is like he's gonna create discontent regardless, bro, no matter what happens. And I think, like we said,
don't you want to try to lower that discontent as much as you can?
I think the way you do that is by integrating him as a normal player and having him play road or home games, though.
But that's not what they want, though. You know, that's not what they want.
That's not what Bron and Clutch want.
Yeah. And they run the Lakers at this point.
They do.
Pretty much.
They do. You're right. So.
But I get it though. I get what you're. I'm just really playing devil's advocate right now.
No, I get you. No, I get you. And
I'm just like, I just try to get, but I understand. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, because like, who's really gonna tell Bron like shit? You know what I'm saying?
So, right. Nobody is.
True. Nobody is. Not in the Lakers organization, at least right now. They are rolling over to him. Yeah. So, hey, but let's move on, man. Let's talk about the college football a little bit. There's a couple things I want to talk about. That kind of was interesting to me that I was kind of reading about and listening to on some podcasts throughout the last couple of days. Obviously, we got the new college football rankings. I think in a party the other day, I think we were talking about Indiana, where they were going to go. I'm not sure. We are in the party that night we were talking about it.
I was there.
So I said I think they were going to go to number 5, and that's what they ended up going with the number 5. So we have a matchup, obviously, with Ohio State. Big game coming up, noon. Couple things about that. Obviously, a lot of Ohio State fans, if you guys haven't known, are very pissed off that they continue to get the home games at noon. Does kind of piss me off as well too, because it's like, why the fuck aren't we playing night games when we play Penn
Big
State?
Noon kickoff?
It's
big noon kickoff, bro.
And that's what people are pissed about, because they're literally riding the fuck out of us and y'all. Like literally, bro. Like the last 3 years, Michigan has played a lot of those big noon games because obviously Michigan.
All we have is big noon games.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We barely played on the Big Ten.
On a lot of the big noon games, and like now, since Michigan's kind of fallen off, they're literally the only team, I guess, worth it that you can put at the big noon spot is Ohio State. And the reason I say that is because Oregon is on the fucking West Coast, and you can't have them do big noon kickoffs because it's a 9 a.m. kickoff on West Coast. Ain't nobody watching that shit on their time. So it's like they're literally saddling us for this damn 12 p.m. shit, and it's fucking it up because it's like there's a lot of games that we could have played that should have been night games. And it makes no sense why we continue to play these games at noon, right? I think we played Oregon.
The networks actually fight for that. The networks fight over the games they get each week, and then they basically bid on the games. And Big Noon has Fox has that deal with Big Ten. They got the money, so they can.
Yeah. The only way it would really change is if Ohio State or Ryan Day dropped that nuts and said we ain't playing in this time slot no more, which I don't think.
But what is it? But like, is that really that big of a deal though?
I think it's a big deal when it comes to certain games, right? Because like we all know, bro, a night game is a completely different atmosphere, right? And when
I get that, but I don't.
And when you play some of these big games, there's a couple of different aspects. I'm gonna say why. One is the atmosphere, right? When you play a big home game and you play one of these top 5 matchups, like the atmosphere of a night game is completely different than it is kicking off at noon. Like we know that the home field advantage is a complete difference when you're kicking off at 7:30 compared to when you're kicking off at 12 and you're playing a top 5 matchup. The other thing I'm gonna say is when you also look at it is when you got these Big Ten games, which I get, it's a huge market because there's no one really at noon. So Fox is killing it in this spot. They made a lot of money. They have a lot of views. They're dominating in the spot with Big Noon kickoff. But when you look at it now, is those 7:30 slots are all SEC teams now. You know, it's always the Bamas, the LSUs, or the Tennessees and Georgias, which is going to be this week. You know what I'm saying? You got the Ole Miss and like it's always these SEC games now that are the primetime games. And I feel like the Big Ten is getting shorted, of these primetime games. Now, people are going to say, well, Big Ten is getting that noon kickoff that no one was really watching before that, right? Like, oh, they're getting this now noon kickoff. They get this. And it's like, at the end of the day, bro, we need 7:30 games. Like, and
So
when you have a couple of decent teams in your conference, well, more decent, but we need those 7:30 kickoffs. That's
Why?
all.
I mean, why
so
though? I mean,
but
why?
so to your point though, also, you know, I get what you're saying, but one, nobody expected IU to be undefeated at this point in the season. So
Correct.
the fact that it was a noon kickoff, it's like you can't flex those games. I guess like they're not going to
Well,
flex those games.
but here's the thing,
Two,
though. Here's the thing, though, Jimmy.
let me
Say,
finish. Let me
that game was.
finish.
That game was.
Let
Okay,
me.
These
go ahead.
games aren't set. These games aren't
It was
set.
determined. It was a two.
They're
It was a
not.
two determined time. That's what I was gonna say.
But
That's all I'm gonna say.
but to my point, but also to that point, the SEC has way better matchups than the Big Ten does. Like, okay, you're going to get an Ohio State, Penn State, or you're going to get Oregon, Ohio State, which was a primetime game. But other than that, bro, like, there's not really any other team in the Big Ten that's like worth getting a night game. I guess. Like, do you want Ohio State playing in a night game against a Nebraska team, or do you want them playing in a night game?
Well, that would have been a good night game, though. That was a good game.
But that's what I'm saying, though. So it's like.
And you got Dylan Raiola in that game.
That's what I'm saying. That's actually
like,
that spot. That's worth a nice spot to me.
Right. But what I'm saying is, it's like, yeah, I guess, but the majority of the teams that Ohio State is going to play in the year, outside of like a handful, they're not going to be like a game that's worth like the prime time, like under the lights for. Like it's got to be. I feel like it's got to be a big game of some sort, like some importance.
So, and that's why, and that's what I was saying. Like, one, like we said, like Tyler said, these games are flexible because they're not determined. There's only a certain number of games that are set times. When you look at our schedule, like I looked at our schedule before the season. I'm sure y'all looked at your schedule before the season. Like there's only a couple games that have set times. There's like 5, 6 maybe, right? The other half are all TV.
The first few, and then like the private games, like Michigan House.
Even our game, like we had a couple games. Like I think when we played Marshall, like that Marshall game was TBD'd until like the week of. Like you didn't know what time it was going.
Typically.
So
those games,
they get the bid on those games. That's why,
right. And that's what I'm saying. So when you had these matchups, though, like you said, Jimmy, no one knew that Indiana was going to be this good and undefeated, right? But now that we knew that, and we had the opportunity to schedule this game, you scheduled it at noon, and like I'm sure because Fox outbid, ABC or whoever it was at that point. But it's just, I don't know. I would like to see a couple of these games at 7:30. Like that's all, man. Because we did play them a couple times before Fox got the Big Ten rights. That's all I'm saying. But what I really want to also talk about is obviously that matchup we have about Indiana, big game. I do expect us to win that game, and I expect us to win that game by multiple scores. I think Indiana's a good team. They haven't played anybody. So I'm anxious to see how that's going to look. Also, I want to get your opinion on that game as well, too. What do y'all think?
I think this where's it at?
Ohio State.
Yeah, I think Ohio State wins. I just
and that's not.
I'm not gonna lie. I was high.
And that's not until November 23rd. I apologize. That's not this weekend.
But anyways, though, I like that game. Though, let's talk about it. I like that game.
Let's talk about it though.
That's a big game.
That's a big matchup.
A lot of implications on that game.
Yeah.
But that game, I really think I was high on Indiana, but now I'm a little not as high just because they play versus us. They really should have blew us out the water, honestly, but they just
that's what I thought.
They really didn't look that impressive to me. I mean, we really should. If Sherrone Moore was like competent at all this year, or our coaching staff at all, we probably would have won that game, honestly. But
I agree.
But they're just not. It looks like Sherrone Moore is way in over his head right now, anyway. So I don't know. Anyways, I just don't think Indiana. They dropped some points in my ranking, and just after last week. So I think you guys will win. I don't know how much you guys will win by, but you guys will win.
What you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat as Tyler. Obviously, you want to. It's always nice to see another team other than the normal team step up and be in this big spot like this. And IU obviously being number 5 is easily the highest they've ever been ranked. Obviously, this is the best start they've ever had to in their program's history. So, I mean, you have all that, but at the end of the day, like they're still going to Ohio State, and the fact that they played Michigan at IU last week and barely got away with the dub.
Yeah.
It's like you look at that and you're like, okay, well, how do we feel confident about this team?
I was like, I think y'all defense was going to be y'all defense. I think it's a difference between Big Ten teams, bro. It's still a difference at the end of the day. It's still levels in the
No
Big Ten.
facts.
And even on a down year for y'all, the trenches for y'all is still better than 98% of the Big Ten teams, right? So
Yeah,
that played a huge factor. If y'all had a competent quarterback and, like Tyler said, a competent coach, I think Sherrone Moore is decent, but I think he's getting exposed a little bit. I think last year when he stepped in,
He's
that
a new
was
coach.
it was such a well-oiled machine. Anybody could kind of stepped into that role and had to kept that rolling. But not having a quarterback plays a huge part into what y'all got going on. So I'm not going to just sit here and try to blame on Sherrone Moore. But if y'all had a competent,
but if you watched that game and saw how he really, the clock management at the end of that game was just terrible.
Yeah. I did go back.
It was awful. I mean, I don't even think Jim Harbaugh wasn't even that great at clock management, but he was. That was way worse than anything Jim's ever done. I mean,
and when you're not good at clock management, and you're a team like that, you should have somebody on your staff that's good at clock management.
But that's the thing, though. We have no coordinators either. So I'm not putting all the blame on him either. He deserves one more chance. I'm telling you, next year, if it's not good, he's gone.
I think this is the year now where you have to retool your coaching staff and surround people with people that have experience and know what they're doing. Because obviously Harbaugh took a lot of experience when he left himself. Yeah, you got to do something. I don't know who you can bring in. I don't know what connections you got. What you can do.
It sounds like the boosters are ready to hold his hand through all this and give him everything he needs, all the resources. Which is good.
Started with Bryce Underwood.
Yeah. I think we're still grabbing him. I think
the
LSU performance was big because now Brian Kelly's kind of on the clock.
I want to talk about that real quick.
Kelly's kind of on the clock now, so it's a big win. It was a big win for us, honestly.
Yeah, that was a huge thing. That was a huge win for y'all. And
he was there on campus.
He's from Michigan, right?
Yeah, he lives like 20 minutes away, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, he lives like 20 minutes away from campus.
Yeah, it's really like 20 minutes. Like, wait, yeah, damn, that's crazy. Okay.
It's like 20-some miles or something like that.
I want to say, I also want to talk about we talk about college football as well too. I got it written down in the college football playoff. Let's talk about who's in right now and who's out. We kind of spoke.
Can I say real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
I don't like the format. I don't like how they're presenting.
I'm not a big fan of
these playoff teams. I was watching the Pat McAfee show today, and they were kind of breaking it down and how they were. Because I didn't watch it yesterday. I didn't watch the actual presentation of who's where. But I think them kind of doing that, how they're doing it in NCAA, where they show you, well, you're good, you're ranked 8, but because we think you're going to win the conference or whatever, we're going to put you at the 3 spot. Or I think that's just like false advertising. Like if you're going to rank these teams, you need to rank them based off of where you feel like they are. Yeah, you got to rank them 1 through 12, and then when you break down the teams, like instead of it going, the number 12 seed is this school and the number 11 school is this team, they're not playing each other. So why not do the matchups? It's going to be 12 versus 5. The 12 seed is this school. The 5 seed is this school. That way, it just kind of gives people, not even like that, because obviously the 1 through 4 gets kind of mixed up in between there.
Right. Yeah.
So, but it's I just feel like the way to really generate buzz around the college football playoff is to kind of show it like that, I guess. And to get people excited. I didn't really like the way they did it. And then they were talking about how the committee is really going off of not so much strength of schedule, but how you look versus the teams that you played against this year. And like a team like Georgia, for example, they get kind of the short end of the stick on that because they're playing against, their schedule is unreal. For them to have they played Clemson in a non-conference game, then they had to play Texas, they had to play Alabama, they had to play LSU, they had Tennessee this weekend. They're playing all these tough games, and obviously if they lose, they're done. If they lose this weekend in Tennessee, they're done. And it's
but that's why I was telling you, Jay. I said, this is the scenario where I think a 10-2 team could get left out in SEC. You have let's say Bama. Let's say Bama's 10-2, or they finish with 2 losses, and then Georgia finishes with 2 losses, and then Tennessee. Let's say Georgia beats Tennessee. Tennessee finishes with 2 losses. I don't know.
Tennessee has 1 loss right now, right? Tennessee has 1 loss right now.
One loss.
Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Hell, Texas
No,
can fuck around and still have
Arkansas
2 losses.
lost to Arkansas.
Okay.
Tennessee lost to Arkansas.
So let's say
So-
this then, right? So,
But
damn.
let's
Damn.
say Indiana. But if Indiana keeps winning,
Right.
or they only lose to Ohio State, then they're like they have to get in over that 10-2 SEC team, and then you got there is a path where you really don't see a 10-2 team get in.
So I broke this down. Like this, and Tyler,
two
I was
losses.
thinking I left one team. I left one team off of here, and I don't know how the hell I did that when I was taking my notes earlier. So I understand what you're saying now, right? So I left a couple teams actually off of here, to be honest with you, because the SEC is still tough, bro. Like it's actually really tough. There's a couple things I'm looking at, right? Because I had wrote down Bama, UGA, Tennessee, Ole Miss, right, as the teams I could get in, because I thought it would be 4 and 4 from the Big Ten, right? I forgot 2 teams, Texas and Texas A&M.
Exactly.
Now they play each other at the end of this year.
Yep.
Texas obviously has 1 loss, but again, a 2-loss Texas, right? And then you look at like you said, maybe you have a 2-loss Ole Miss, you have a possible 2-loss Tennessee and Bama, or 2C. Yeah, bro, you're right. One of these teams is gonna get left out.
Georgia could be 2 loss. You know what I'm saying?
Because then you have a thing, right? Let's say the SEC championship is you get a 10-2 team, and that's in there.
Right now, the SEC championship game would be, and this is solely because A&M has an extra game in the SEC right now, but it would be A&M versus Tennessee. Now, obviously, that's contingent on whether Georgia wins this week or Tennessee wins this weekend, or Texas A&M, the winner of the Texas A&M Texas game in a couple weeks.
Right.
So, I mean, obviously, like I look at a team like Tennessee, where if they lose, I don't really see them not getting in.
But Tennessee has 1 loss right now, right?
Yeah, they have 1 loss.
Okay. So if Tennessee loses again, they lose to Georgia. Who's their 1 loss? The other loss too? Who was it actually to?
Arkansas. You're gonna not get in.
That's a nasty loss. They could not get in from that.
Tennessee will be the team that's going to be standing out. Probably. I honestly think it's going to be Tennessee.
I think so. Texas lost to Georgia.
But if they win, it's really,
like they beat up on
things where you're at a point in the season where you control your own destiny. You just got to win out. That's
some teams, yeah.
There's only going to be
4. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. For SEC, you're right.
I think there's only going to be 4 SEC teams. I think there's going to be 4 Big Ten teams because obviously you got Notre Dame in the mix.
Yep.
Because they're playing really well. They only have 1 loss on the year, and then you have, you still have your Miamis and whoever else is going to be coming out of the at-large schools or the Group of 5 conferences.
This was who I had written down. I had from the Big Ten, I had OSU, Oregon, Penn State, and Indiana. As long as Indiana, either wins out or
that's how it's going to be.
And then because as long as Indiana doesn't lose the game before they play us, they should be fine.
They have a bye. They have a bye this week, so they're not playing.
Okay, so they're good. And do they have a game after they play us?
Yeah, I believe they play Purdue. They play Purdue, which they're fucking terrible.
So they should be okay. So they should be solid then. So Indiana, I think that's the 4th from the Big Ten, right?
Yeah.
SEC gets
Indiana's almost gonna stand. Indiana almost wants to lose this game because they get to avoid the conference championship game, and then almost automatically get in with 1 loss.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're right.
Well, if they lose to Ohio
State, if they lose this game, they don't have to play in the Big Ten championship. Pretty much is what you're saying, right?
Yeah,
correct.
Either way, even if they win this game, let's say they win this game, they're still going to get into the Big Ten championship. Let's just say they lose to Oregon, they're still going to get in because they're only going to be a 1-loss team.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. They're really in right now, honestly.
They're in. As long as they lose to Purdue, they should be good. So and then SEC, we got. That's going to be up in the air. But let's just say I think Texas is going to be Texas A&M. So let's just say we put Texas in there, right? Let's say I think Georgia's going to be Tennessee. I think Georgia's going to be in. I think Bama's going to be in. And then you're going to have either Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Tennessee, one of those battling to be that 4th spot. But one of those teams is going to be, I think, at that point.
And then if you were to break it down like that, you look at the team losses. Like A&M would have a loss to who was their other loss?
Notre Dame.
Right, Notre Dame at home, but they have another loss in the.
They don't have another loss. They only have 1 loss, I think.
No, they're not undefeated in the SEC. They just lost to South Carolina.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, okay. Yep. You're right. You're right.
So
You're right.
so
Okay.
like a loss to South Carolina and a loss to Notre Dame non-conference and a loss to Texas. That's gonna be kind of tough.
Where it gets interesting if they beat Texas. That's where it gets interesting.
Yeah,
if they beat Texas, then they're gonna have one loss in the SEC. Well, Texas would have 2 losses in the SEC.
And
they're gonna go to the SEC championship game. They beat Texas.
Yeah. So let's just say those are 4, right? We just say we got 4 from SEC, and then I had from your other power, like the other power 4, I guess you would say now at this point. You have Colorado, Miami.
Yep.
Right. Let's just say those are the 2 I think at that point the way Colorado's rolling, and then your last 2 in would be Notre Dame, Boise State is who I had in right now.
I don't know. I don't know if I could put in Colorado over BYU right now, personally.
Okay.
Well, just say Colorado / BYU.
Yeah, Colorado / BYU. Yeah. And then I have Miami, Notre Dame, and I think Boise State would be that small school that gets in right now. And then there's one other thing I wanted to talk about as well too, while we talk about college football, and then we're gonna wrap it up with the NFL.
Yeah, we gotta.
I know. We got it. College football was kind of interesting this week, though. It was a lot going on right now. But was this a bigger loss for Brian Kelly, or was it a bigger win for Kalen DuVall?
I think it's a bigger loss for Brian Kelly because he's been LSU this is 3rd season LSU.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they have
at home.
They had the number 1 recruit at their building. You got the whole governor of Louisiana saying the team didn't show up. Brian basically, dogging Brian Kelly, which is interesting. So I think it's getting a little hot in LSU. I think the seats are getting a little warm. So I think
for sure.
And Kalen DeBoer, let's say Kalen DeBoer lost that game. It's his first year at Bama. People are gonna be like, okay, like you know what I'm saying? It's not the end of the world. You know what I'm saying? It would have looked a little. People might have been like, obviously he's not saving. No one's saving. Okay, yeah, but he's a good coach. So I mean, I just think even if he would have lost this game, people would still. Bama would have been fine. They would have been okay with Kalen. Everything's good. But now LSU losing that game kind of raises a lot of eyebrows. Raises a lot of questions about Brian Kelly. Is he the right culture fit? That was already a question when he first signed on. Is his culture fit there? Is this really what the direction they want to go to? Or are they gonna keep Bryce Underwood? So it's a lot of stuff going on, and the OC that Bryce Underwood is, real tight with the LSU. He might leave for another head coaching job somewhere else. I'm hearing. So,
and I've heard, is that true? The Stallions is calling the plays.
He's calling the plays at Belleville. Yeah, Bryce Underwood's school. That's interesting, isn't it?
Hey, I'm telling you, man.
I'm gonna keep my comments refrain.
Hey, Connor Stallions is doing nothing wrong. He is
Hey,
he's coaching high school football. Looking at all the top
prospects. You ain't trying.
Hey, you didn't see you didn't see Michigan's tailgate? You didn't see Michigan's tailgate?
No.
It's all the Michigan fans that live in the Belleville area have been going to Bryce Underwood's games with like Michigan signs and saying like keep 19 home and all this stuff. They're like packing out his games and all Michigan stuff, signs about him going to Michigan.
Yeah, bro.
Home and
it's
all
serious.
that. It's serious. And they have another guy on their team that Michigan's trying to get to that they're trying to. He's committed to
Pitt. Get both of them. Yeah,
he's committed to Pittsburgh, and they're trying to keep them both home.
Okay. Is he pretty good, or is he just somebody that
no, he's like a 4. He's like a 4-3. He's like a 3 French 4-star. Pretty good. I think he's a receiver or DB or something like that.
He's number 1.
Yeah. So they've been going to their games out there, setting up, trying to get them to stay home. Man, I'm hoping they stay home, man.
Hey, that would be huge, though. I wouldn't be mad at it, man. I was saying that I'm like, I want LSU to get Bryce, obviously, because I just don't want to play against Bryce because, he's probably a very talented player. So I wouldn't want to see him. But, I mean, hey, it'll be dope for him to stay at home, though. That would be pretty cool to see.
I mean, I'll be honest about that stuff. I mean, honestly,
you never know.
We have to get a different offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
We have to.
Yeah.
I think they will, though.
They should go hire Joe Sloan from LSU. That's his boy. They should really go Man, we'll give you $3 million to be the OC here. You know what I'm saying?
They got to bring the Brinks trucks for
Money gonna start
whoever. They got
flowing,
to make
so,
it
yeah.
happen.
I think like if Ohio State, if they say we spent 21 million, I think Michigan's definitely going to clear the 15 million mark this
No,
season.
Michigan's back at the Brinks trucks right now. We're gonna be like with Ohio State, all the big dogs with the money, the funds,
Well, I
all
think
the big dogs. We're gonna be right up there with them, right outside of that, like right there. I mean,
I think
this transfer class about to be nice. It's gearing up for that.
Yeah, it is. We're gonna have
Recruiting
our
class
hands
is getting
all
better
over
and
it.
better every day. It's like we're getting guys to flip. We just had a couple. We had a guy flip from Clemson. We had a guy flip from Georgia, 4 stars. So I mean, it's just looking Michigan. Recruits are here. We're dishing out the money right now. We're dishing out the money.
Yep, they know what the deal is. They're trying to be a part of something special. They see how bad we are.
Okay, let's move on, man. Let's talk about the NFL. Good luck to Michigan and all the fans in Belleville, man. Lions. Let's talk about this. We're gonna jump right in. We're gonna stay at home with the Lions. Lions escaped with a win over at H-Town, man. An exciting, thrilling game. We're gonna kind of speed through the NFL a little bit today, but we are gonna talk about the Lions game because that was a pretty interesting game. So let's spend a couple minutes talk about that. Jimmy, I'm sure you got some stuff to say. Jimmy, before you go though, let me and Tyler go first because I'm sure I'll let you wrap up the conversation.
I'll be quick, but yeah, go ahead.
Obviously we saw Goff throw 5 interceptions, crazy. Still win the game. The Texans looked good in the first half, fell apart. Come second half, I don't know what the hell is going on with CJ, that offensive line. They got a lot of problems right now. They need Nico back bad. I don't know. I think they're still in good position because at the end of the day, their division is so awful. So we'll see about that. But yeah, I think the Texans are kind of like in fall mode right now. What do y'all think right now? What did you think, Tyler?
Yeah, I think they look decent beginning of the season, but you could just tell it wasn't like the same team as last year. Lost a little bit of luster for some reason. Even with Stephon Diggs and all that, it looked good. A couple
Joe
weeks.
Mixon. Yeah,
and Joe Mixon. It looked good for a couple of weeks, stuff like that, but it really starts with CJ. I mean, CJ just hasn't looked like the same player as he did last year, which is fine. I mean, it's normal. Sophomore slump, everyone, defense got a little more film on. They know it's Tennessee's a little bit more, stuff like that. Whatever. I mean, I think he'll be able to break through it, even though, I love CJ Stroud, man. He was very generous to Michigan at this time at Ohio State. So, I respect the guy, But anyways, I think the Texans are in trouble. I think they got to figure out the line. They got to draft some offensive linemen. Larry Tunsil even doesn't even look that great. He's supposed to be this high-paid lineman. He's kind of falling off a little bit, but maybe they can. They got hit with the injury bug too this year, so it's been tough. So I don't know. Maybe this is not their year this year, but maybe next year.
Yeah.
So how I looked at the game was, and I had said this in my multiple group chats because obviously all eyes are on the Lions on Sunday Night Football just because they're the only game on TV. But obviously, Goff throwing those interceptions was just unfortunate because obviously we talked about he's only thrown 4 picks in the last 5 games, and all those stats come out about how great he's been, how accurate he's been throwing the ball. But I will say, even
gotta
with
put him in the MVP conversation.
Jinx him big time.
That's done. That's done. He's done for the MVP stuff.
I wouldn't say that.
I don't want to say that dropped him. That dropped him for sure. That dropped him for sure.
Yeah, it probably did.
He's done.
But
he's not in the top 3
anymore. The way I
MVPs don't throw 5 picks in one game.
The way I look at it, technically, if you want to talk about him throwing interceptions like that actually mattered, he really only threw 3. One of them was like a sack.
One was a sack fumble.
They got sacked.
People aren't looking at that in the day, bro. You know how to look at the stats. It's a stats world.
But what I'm saying, people didn't know if it was an interception or a fumble, and they just deemed it as an interception.
What we'll say is
the other interception the other interception he threw was on Hail Mary at the end of the first half.
Yeah.
So it's
but at the end of the day, when people look at the stats at like in 3 years and they look back on the season, they ain't gonna be like, oh well, yeah, one was a Hail Mary and one was a fumble that was really
I'll tell you this.
No one's gonna do that.
And you're right. No, but you're right. But you're right. The only thing people are gonna do is look at the score column. Look at the score column. We had 5 turnovers that game. We had 5 turnovers. I think we had 2 in the first half. We had 3 in the first half and 2 in the second half. The fact that we had 3 turnovers in the first half, we were only down 23-6 going into halftime, or what was the score? 23 to Was it 23-6? Yeah, it was 23-6 going into halftime. We were down 2 possessions. Anyways, 23-7 was the score. We're down 2 possessions. We're down 16 points going into halftime. Like, we had 3 turnovers in the first half. We stopped at 2 field goals, and one of them was, I think one of them kicked like a 50-something yarder, and I mean one score technically, but they started with early field or really short field position. Obviously for some of the turnovers that he had. But the fact that we did all that and we're still able to be down 2 possessions and still be in the game, like we came on the second half, they got the ball. So I'm thinking, oh fuck, the way the first half's going, they're about to drive down the field, score, and go up 3 possessions, and it's really going to be dark for us to try and come back. We get a pick literally the first play out of the second half. We score on that drive, and then from there it was just kind of like, CJ's offensive line has not been good for him this year. They talked about it all week about how they had one of the worst offensive lines in the league. Their interior linemen aren't that good. Obviously, like Tyler said, Laramie Tunsil was really the only star on the offensive line, and he's not even playing his best this year. And it obviously shows in CJ's game. Doesn't help him that he doesn't have, his 2 best receivers or his 2 top targets basically in that game either. But I mean, we talked about how bad our pass rush was all season and how we hadn't been able to get any pressures on anybody. And even without Zadarius Smith, we still had 4 sacks. So that should really just show how bad the Texans offensive line is, and how bad it really got towards the end of the game. Because realistically, the Texans did everything right that game. I mean, they stopped the run in the first half. They were really honing in on
stalled out in the second half.
Yeah, and it's
because you can't say they did everything right when they stalled out in the second half.
Right. So I'm saying right. For the first half, they had the first half script was fantastic, but obviously we kind of figured out what they were trying to do in terms of stopping the run and really getting on the getting to the inside, which we like to hit the zones a lot, obviously. But I was watching a couple highlights of our line and just the different plays that we ran in the second half. The motion was killing them. We were sending Amon-Ra motion every time, and one of them was the J-Mo, and another one was the Amon-Ra St. Brown and the slide. We were fucking them up on that drive. They were watching the whole breakdown of it. So that's a good win. I said we have one of the toughest schedules left in the NFL. So obviously going on the road and playing against a division leading team in primetime football is definitely one of those games that you want to win. And it wasn't a pretty win, but it can only get better from there. Jared Goff will never have a game that bad again in his career. That was the worst game in his career. I think he's only had one other game where he's thrown 4 more picks. So, that's just like an outlier game. But the fact that we won that game on top of that it makes it a little sweeter. Makes it a little sweeter.
I will say this. I remember logging into FanDuel, and I saw the odds when you were down 23-7, and I think it was like plus 480, which are nuts. Which is not nuts for a team that's down 20%, right? You would think typically if you're down 23-7 in the second half, that the odds would be like plus 1,200 or something like that.
I was about to say, I'm shocked. You said plus 480.
Yeah, right, 480. That was crazy. I'm like, and it never felt like the Lions. It never felt like the Lions were out of the game either. So I'm just like I kind of felt the comeback coming back, and that crazy because I put a parlay together, and when I need to stop, I'm gonna start going my gut from now on. But gotcha. I was like, anytime touchdown, I'm looking at it. I'm like, I'm gonna take Amon-Ra St. Brown, right? But at that point, Amon-Ra hadn't been too involved in the offense. I'm like, I don't really know if I want to take Amon-Ra. They really ain't been looking at him all night. Let me take Jameson for any timer. And obviously, Amon-Ra ended up scoring in the second half, so I was kind of pissed off because everything else I'm gonna take a hit except for Jameson getting any timer. But yeah, man, it was just crazy to see because the Lions never felt like they were out of that game. But let's move on to another one who, for a team that never seems down and out, Kansas City Chiefs continue to win, move on to be 9-0 with a thrilling one, obviously, against Denver. For those who didn't see the game, they won on a blocked field goal that Denver was attempting. I saw somebody on X say, are we going to let them keep getting away with this black magic that they're doing? This voodoo magic that they got going on, man, because they doing some shit over there in Kansas City.
I'll say this. I'll say this about that game. The Chiefs deserve that one. They deserve that block. I don't know if you've seen any of the breakdown of the special teams for the Broncos, but basically all season long, this dude that gave up the block ultimately was getting absolutely destroyed on every fucking extra point or field goal attempt. Every single one, he was on his ass. And
Yeah.
so they made it a point of emphasis to, all right, we're just gonna keep rushing them. We're gonna keep bull rushing them. And eventually they're gonna get, and after the first time, I think after the first field goal that they had, they didn't really get to him, but he was still falling on his ass every time. So they're like, oh, we're gonna get there. So the fact that it happened at that moment in the game.
And that's how you become a world-class organization right there.
Absolutely. The attention to detail.
You see stuff like that on the special teams. Special teams, people like scoff off special teams, but it's a third of the game. Yeah. And special teams is very important. If you can get wins on special teams, you can really change the game. And that's what they did.
Because nobody
and who's one of those
thought, like who would have thought that the Chiefs were going to be in a position of where, we got to block a field goal to not lose to the Broncos, but the way they have been attacking that that left side all game, they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna get to them.
Yeah. And that's the divisional game, tough game, great win to still win, and like you said, Tyler, that's a great attention to detail, and also like you said, the special teams is a huge part of these teams. And like I was gonna say is, one of the teams that we saw, one of the dynasties that we saw that paid attention to that detail and had one of the great special teams was New England Patriots and Bill Belichick, right?
Slater for them ended up being like a Pro Bowler, multiple-time Pro Bowler on special teams.
He's gonna be a Hall of Famer.
And Hester. Like that's like we said, it's a very underlooked part of the game, but it's probably one of the most important parts of the game. To change field position and do a lot of those things, we really playing chess on the NFL field. Special teams comes into a huge part of that.
Which is why you're seeing, things like our guy, Tyson, him getting a game ball for his performance on special teams, because that's crucial. Like you said, if you able to flip flip the field and potentially get the ball down on the one, or give them a super long field to work with, like all of that is a factor, and that all plays into special teams. And if you can have guys out there that can really help with that, and there's people that, there are some guys that are just like special teams guys. Like we have a Jalen Reeves-Maybin, he's on all of our special teams and whatnot. Like obviously other teams have other, like you got Matthew Slater, and just guys that are just like, they do the gritty work, then make the plays that go like unsung essentially, and don't get talked about or highlighted as much by the media or whatever. But that shit matters at the end of the day. Definitely matters. Plays a big role in the game.
It will get you paid in the league.
It will get you paid in the league. Yes, it will. Because they know how valuable it is.
Yeah. They get you spot. So let's move on real quick. Let's talk about the Steelers. Steelers stay 3-0 with Russ. Mr. Unlimited. They beat the Commanders.
No, Jay. That's Mr. Unlimited.
Mr. Unlimited.
Everything unlimited.
Unlimited.
Hey, Mr. Russ, man, it's looking good. It's looking good, man. They continue to roll. Offense is looking better and better each week. George Pickens is starting to really get on the roll here. Mike Williams with the game-winning touchdown, huge pickup that you tried for. With the moon ball, talk to him, Jenny, because your boy Mays over there hating with the moon ball talk.
What did he say, Tyler? Mike Williams, when he got the moon ball from Russ, he looking at his head.
Yeah, he said, yeah, that was crazy. You see Mike Williams' post? He said hashtag red line.
Red line, yeah.
Aaron Rodgers was talking bad about him.
Hey, we love it though. That was a good pickup, and I was sitting here talking about Mike Williams cooked. Here I was talking about Mike Williams cooked, and the whole time
I thought he was cooked too.
He was playing for a cooked organization. Ain't that crazy?
I think he was in this organization where they wanted him to like really perform, like they were expecting him to be like a top guy. Not to say that the Steelers aren't looking for him to be like a top receiver for them, but like
they're looking for him to be a solid number 2. Yeah,
right. And so I feel like with this offense, he'll be able to I think he'll fit it just fine with this offense. Actually, another jump ball.
The receivers
deep ball threat for
which Tyler can speak more to because he's a Steelers fan, but they love those type of receivers most of the time. They love those big body receivers, those guys.
Like Martavis Bryant, we've had those guys. We've tried those guys out. They've worked out our system, like
for sure.
I just think if you think about it, all the great Steelers quarterbacks, we've probably had 2 in our franchise history: Terry Bradshaw, Big Ben. they both get the deep ball. Well, obviously we didn't see Terry really, but that's
Right.
when we look at the highlights stuff. That's what he was doing. And Lynn Swan hitting all them boys deep. Russell is 2 touchdowns away from having the most touchdown pass by a Steelers QB since Big Ben retired. Kenny Pickett, the most touchdowns he threw on a season.
That's crazy.
Kenny Pickett, the most touchdowns he ever threw on a season, I think, was 8 or 7. And Russ
that's
has
nasty. That's
Russ
gross.
has 6.
And that's a 3.
And that Russ is playing
That's in 3 games.
That's 3 games.
That's 3 games.
So this is like the uptick we've got with just Russ is like people should be looking at Sean Payton and give him the side eye how he was trying to do Russ.
Thank you.
That's really what people need to really be looking at because I mean Russ still got it. Russ still got it because Justin Fields comes in, he could throw the ball. It's not like he can't throw the ball. He can throw the ball, but he throws line drives and he doesn't get the receiver that chance. You get that moon ball Russ has, it actually makes it's very advantageous for the receiver because like he can see the ball, he can place himself, kind of get his body right, box out the defender. When Justin was throwing the balls, it's like you were giving him like it was like a Russell. They say he's throwing a 50-50 ball, but it's really like 70-30.
Sure.
70-30.
You know what I'm saying? It's like the receivers got such a great chance. Justin Fields out there throwing. It's like
it is like a 40-60.
Yeah, the odds go down. The odds go down. But
the thing
I don't think that's a knock on Justin. There's different play styles.
I think you have a veteran quarterback who's played a lot of football that knows how to layer his throws.
Yeah,
and you have a guy that unfortunately hasn't had that much, success, hasn't had the coaching, the time, whatever it may be, right, to be able to develop that wear and thaw that it takes to be able to layer those throws and get that touch on there perfectly.
I don't know. Justin's really learning from Russ though, because he really can learn a thing or two from Russ. Like, he really can. No disrespect.
And I think he is though, because I think even when he had that, like even when Russ came back, right, and Justin was very humble in the return and saying like I didn't do enough. It was Russ's position. Like he sounded very mature in his benching. So I'm hoping that he is learning because, like we said, I think Justin's still the future of the Steelers. I don't see the Steelers going and investing in the QB this year in the draft. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I think they probably resign Russ if Russ continues to play as he's played, and as long as he continues to stay healthy. I think they're going to resign Russ, and I think you bring Justin back as well too. So we'll see, man. I think the Steelers have solved their quarterback issues, hopefully for the next couple of years, right? And hopefully you have your guy that can step in after that and maybe be a Jordan Love type of guy that can actually come in and play. So next we're gonna move on to the Falcons. I wish my boy Tone was here. There's a couple of things I want to talk about for the guys in here today. But we're gonna touch on these next subjects quickly because they don't relate to any of us. Falcons lose to the Aints 20-17. Falcons look like they hit their stride, and now it looks like
they can't hit their stride.
They
haven't gone on a longer than they haven't won more than 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
They're losing the teams they're losing the teams they should beat realistically. They should beat the Saints. This is one of the games that Tone had on his list as a dub for their 12-5 record, which now, they're 6-4 now, so it's like.
And I don't know who they play next week, but I know in week 12 they play us.
They still got to play, and they still got to play the Broncos. I think they play the Broncos this week, actually.
Is it who they play?
Yeah, and they still got to play. They still have to play the Commanders. Still have to play the Vikings, I believe. So it's like they're not really. It's definitely going to be a tough little stretch.
They got the Broncos in Denver this week.
Mm-hmm.
Tough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and they're mad because they should have just gotten a dub against the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's 12. And then they have the Broncos, they have us, they have the Falcons, they have the Vikings, and they got to go to Minnesota for that game. They got to go to Vegas, which they should be able to beat Vegas. Then they got the Giants at home. They should be able to beat the Giants, and they got the Commanders. It's a possibility, bro, that they can lose 4 out of these last 6 games. Like, we'll see.
That's what I'm saying, bro. That's all I'm saying.
Even 3-3. We'll see. But let's move on from that because we don't really give a shit about the Falcons. But NFC South, we will say they still will make play. I don't think anybody in there. The Bucs possibly.
They're out there running with the.
Yeah, they're out there running with JB. They still compete.
I said they got K-Dot and Sterling Shepard and like a bunch of French practice squad guys over there.
And Mike
So,
Evans will be back. I'm assuming Mike Evans
Mike
is not
Evans
out
is
for
going
the
to be back
season.
sometime. So
If
okay.
they can
I
win
don't know.
another game, if they can win a game, you know,
If they can win a game in 4 rounds.
they might
Man,
be in a
Mike's not
position
gonna get
where
1,000 this year, man. That hurts my feelings,
Yeah, that
man.
hurts. That
yeah,
does hurt.
man.
Hurts.
Yeah, man, that stinks.
But
But speaking of the Bucks, they just beat the team we're about to talk about, or they almost just beat the team that we're
almost
about to
beat
talk
the
about right
team
now.
which was the 49ers, man. The 49ers won a close one in CMC's return. CMC had 13 carries, 6 catches for 107 total yards from scrimmage in his first game back. I saw some people on X talking about he didn't look the same the way he was cutting and everything. It just didn't look the same as CMC. I'm actually shocked as I'm reading these numbers for him to get 19 touches in his first game back. Kyle Shanahan is a sicko.
No, I was thinking out during the game because I live in Tampa, so I was out during the game because I was watching the Steelers game with some of my friends in Tampa. But so we were at the bars. Everyone's all hyped for the Bucks. Obviously, it was a good game. But I was watching the game and I was really sitting there like, man, CMC's getting a lot of carries. Like, why didn't Kyle Shanahan do this in the Super Bowl though? Like when he was healthy and stuff. Hey, I don't know. You should have been feeding him every play if I was him. But anyways, I think CMC. I thought he looked pretty solid for the first game back. To me,
I thought it solid too.
Okay. I mean, I think
defense.
I think if you're getting 106 yards from scrimmage, and like you said, playing against a Tampa Bay defense, I think that's pretty damn good in my opinion.
People were just like wanting him to break a long one. There was a couple times where he had that lane, and it kind of looked like he was going to get there, but he got tackled or whatever, or closed up quick. But I thought he ran well. I thought he ran hard. He played hard, but it did look like he was a little, still.
He hasn't.
It was like his first game.
That get it for him?
That was his first game of the season.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, come on. Yeah.
You gotta get it for. I don't know why people are like saying he don't look the same. Obviously, he's not. He's got to get it for.
I mean, these guys have played 8 games already. He's playing his first one.
And even though he wasn't looking as shifty as he normally has been, like you do have to take into account, like this man is playing it. Not only is it his first game, but it's his first game this year because of double Achilles tendonitis. Like he don't know how his body's gonna react, like to game speed or whatever. And I mean, shit, they even still got him involved. He had 6 catches for 68 yards. Like he was still going to utilize, and I think as long as it's probably going to be like that. I would have to imagine, just because other than that, the leading receiver was Juwan Jennings, and Ricky Pearsall were the top 2 receivers. Debo had 5 catches for 62 yards, so he was going, but he was getting carries out of the backfield too. So I really think they're about to start utilizing CMC like the old CMC days, the PPR machine, Christian McCaffrey. And eventually with that, he'll start to get more loose and start to, feel better about his body and get more comfortable and confident in his body to hold up. And shit, he's going to be a force. I think this was just he had 13 carries for 39 yards. He still averaged 3 yards a carry. Obviously the run game wasn't working that well for him just because the Bucs defense is good for the most part. So he'll be all right. I think the 49ers are the NFC West got a lot more interesting with the 49ers getting CMC back and looking like that and getting a dub.
Which we got a team to talk about as well too a little bit. Eagles embrace the Cowboys. We don't talk about that too much. Cowboys are shit. No, actually there's a couple things I want to talk about, but quickly. Mike McCarthy and Micah Parsons comments on Mike McCarthy. What do y'all think about that?
I think he's nasty.
I think it's nasty. Go ahead, Joe.
I understand where he's coming from because he's technically not wrong, because it is a lot easier for a head coach to get another job somewhere else if they get, let go or fired or whatever from another team, or they don't extend their contract in this scenario. But that's not something that you really say out loud, I guess. And then you just kind of throw him under the bus and saying he's not working that hard. And I think that's just like, you don't say that. Like, you can't bash your coach like that and then come back and be like, oh, well, I didn't really mean that. Like, I mean it like that. It's just like, it doesn't look good, especially when your team is already in turmoil right now. And this is the worst that the Cowboys have been in a long time. Like, and what makes it even crazier is this man, that was his first game back in like 5 weeks, like 5-6 weeks. So I'm like, how can you even speak on like the work ethic of your coach or whatever? You're not even there to, you know what I mean? Like, you're not even there to participate in it. Like, you're not helping your team at all. So I don't know. I think that was a fried comment by him. but
it was
just
Brian
another piece of dysfunction in the Cowboys organization right now.
So now the next question is, what do the Cowboys do, right? Because I think we can almost say, are we all in agreement that Mike McCarthy's probably out of a job?
Mike's gone.
He's gone.
Mike's gone. Mike's gone.
On that. So what do the Cowboys do? Do they just lose out at this point, or try to tank? And like I asked y'all last week, and just try.
They have to try. I think they're just that bad. Just don't bring Dak back.
He's already on IR. So
yeah. He tore his shit.
He's
in
done.
According to Jerry Jones, actually on 105.3 Dallas radio station, he talked about Dak's undergoing a hamstring surgery. He has prognosis is wonderful, according to Jerry, quote unquote. So they said it's about a 3-month recovery for the surgery that he's having. And it's a common hockey injury as well, too, is what I noted down. So, they're confident that Dak is going to come back. They're confident that it's not going to play a part into his future, his career.
No, of course not.
But what do they do? This like tank, get high as big as you can.
Like Tyler said, I don't really think they have to do a lot to tank at this point. They don't really have
right.
Yeah, they don't really have a ton of options.
I think they just got to evaluate if they want to go forward with Dak or they want to go try to get Shedeur and Ward.
That's true.
Or
I think that's the question, but it's like, damn, what do? You just signed Dak to all that money, bro.
You could trade him.
Told you, bro. There's teams out there that will trade for Dak.
Dak is tradable. I know people like to make jokes about the Cowboys and Dak and all that. He's very tradable.
Dak when he's on is a maybe like the 6th or 7th best QB in the league when he's on. And when he's not on, he's still 10 through 13, right? So still is in the top end of quarterbacks when you look at it in the NFL. So yeah, it's tradable, but I don't know. I think there's another team that I was thinking about at that point. Who was it? I can't remember what other team was. I was thinking I could take that number 1 pick aside, Shedeur, and then get Dion, but I don't know. Let's move on about that though. I think the Cowboys are kind of cooked though.
Eagles won 5 in a row.
Eagles are rolling right now, man. Nick Sirianni was playing is coaching for his job, so that plays a part into that as well too. But also let's talk about obviously, like we said, the Eagles won 5 straight. And let's talk about the Cardinals. Cardinals and my boy Kyler, man. Feet on fire, man. They rolling right now.
They've won 5 of their last 6.
Yep, 4 straight, I think it is. They've been looking good, man. They've been looking good, and I'm excited about the Cardinals. I'm excited about what they're building down there. The defense has been looking a lot better these last couple of weeks, which has been their biggest problem, I think, if you looked at them.
Granted, they're not really playing, super crazy offenses either. But, yes, I agree. Their defense has, they've looked impressive to this point. Only allowed 6 points is crazy in the NFL, so.
Yep. Against the Jets on top of that, which is crazier, I think, at that point, who we thought.
All right.
I thought the Jets were going to win that game. I predicted them to win that game, and they completely fell apart. It's even funnier because I was totally against them firing Robert Saleh. I think they're complete idiots for that. And it's funny to see how bad their defense has gotten since Saleh's been gone. It clearly shows to me that Saleh wasn't the problem.
So everybody knew that, though.
He also wasn't the solution either, though. So I will say that. But it's just crazy to see, man. Crazy to see. Nice about Kyler, and that kind of leads into my last conversation I want to talk to y'all about before we wrapped it up here was quick MVP race. Who y'all got right now, top 5? If you can't give me top 5, you can give me a top 3.
I'm gonna top 3.
Yeah, I think 3 is probably appropriate.
I'll go Lamar, Josh Allen. I'll probably go Derrick Henry. No, Saquon. Let me go Saquon.
I think I would go Derrick Henry as my 3rd spot. Derrick Henry been going crazy this year.
I think Saquon. I get it, but I'm saying I think Saquon might end of the season. He might. He got some younger legs.
That's true. They're both rolling. Games. Facts. No, you're right about that. I think I'm in the same boat as you. Obviously, I can't put Goff up there right now. So we'll leave that alone for right now. But eventually, he's gonna have one of those games where I'm like, okay, put him back up there.
Okay. Whatever makes so happy.
So I'm looking at the odds right now. Yeah, he dropped. He dropped, brother. It's Lamar, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes, which I don't get why Patrick Mahomes is getting so much love for the MVP, bro. He is not having an MVP season. I don't care if the Chiefs are 10-0, 15-0, whatever. The stat that he is producing this year should not be warranted of an MVP or even in an MVP.
Would they be undefeated without Mahomes, though?
But,
they had a quarterback.
I mean, fuck.
They'd be undefeated.
No.
I mean, I guess, but it's like
they wouldn't.
His numbers. He's not the reason why they're undefeated either.
I think people look too much into numbers sometimes. Like,
I mean,
in these situations, because like
it's the effect that he plays on the team, bro.
Like they're undefeated. Like they're the three back to back
like,
champions.
You can say defense. You can say defense all you want, but it's like at the end of the day, like Tyler said, would they be undefeated if there was a different quarterback under the center? And I think that
I'm just saying there's a lot of quarterbacks that play for.
He's really controlling that offense though. Like when you really look at how he's doing it, like I'm not mad at it. That's all I'm saying.
As much as I hate on him and don't think I don't even want to say that because I was about to say like Jalen Hurts, put him up in the conversation over Pat just after the year that he's having versus Pat. Jalen Hurts is having a solid year. Plus,
I don't think he's there yet.
Yeah.
Or like a Jaden Daniels. Like, why can't we put Jaden Daniels up in the conversation?
I'm not ready. I get it.
The Commanders are having the best season that they have had, and I don't know
how long. But I'm not surprised. I literally had the Commanders being number 2 in the division. Like, I'm not surprised because they were a quarterback away. They were a quarterback away from being a good team.
But a rookie quarterback to go into the NFC East.
I mean, but we've seen rookie
which is dominated by 2 teams.
Dak did it. Which much is like
he didn't win MVP, but Dak didn't win MVP, and he wouldn't have an MVP year. He had a.
Also, I had Zeke that was cooking his ball too that year, but
Dak did it.
But also, so I think my top, I had 5. I did Lamar, Josh, I had Derrick Henry, I got Joe Burrow, and then my 5th it'd probably be really, if you want to be honest with you.
I'm not mad at Joe being up there.
Right. It was Lamar, Josh, Henry. I got Kyler, and then I had Joe Burrow. Those are my 5.
So Derrick Henry, just for reference, he has the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13th best odds to win the MVP behind CJ Stroud, behind Kirk Cousins, Herbert.
Let's just call it the quarterback award, bro. Let's just call it the quarterback award.
Saquon is behind Smith and Stafford.
Where's Jamar Chase at on that list? Jamar Chase should be higher than a lot of these guys as well too. Jamar
Chase is behind TJ Watt for MVP.
That just tells me let's wrap up this conversation because I'm tired of this MVP voting. Y'all got because that just irritated me, bro. That just irritated me. But y'all got anything that y'all want to say before we got here?
Man, nah, we just let's get back active, everyone. Let's get back on Discord. Let's get back to what we need to get to. Buy the merch. We still got shirts.
We're gonna get in our bag. We've been kind of BS a little bit on the drunk unk side. We're gonna get back in our bag.
Yeah, we've been drunk over here.
Yeah, we have been drunk, man. There's been a lot going on. You know, we got lives.
Life.
But we gonna come back with y'all, man. We are probably gonna take a 2-week break. So if you don't see us for the next 2 weeks, we'll still be posting, we'll still be sharing, keeping a lot of things up. We'll be doing things in the background, like we said, try to get things back in order, get things back ready, get back things, getting clips out, making sure that we get this promo, getting this merch out, just keeping you up to date, man, and just coming back. The show's been getting better, and we want to continue to get better and strive better product for y'all. So make sure y'all checking us out. Also, make sure y'all subscribing, liking. At Drunk Unks Pod on every platform that you can think of: Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. And go ahead and shout us out, man. Follow us, like us, subscribe. We appreciate y'all joining us for another episode of Happy Hour. We out.
Hey, go Pistons, man.
Yes, sir.